It's great to have you back on. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he's now doing a big pushback against the Democrats' defund the police. He's trying to recruit more police officers to Florida, $5,000 signing bonuses, scholarship programs, out-of-state relocation support. What do you say to this move?
Well, it's easy pickings because what's happening in major cities across the country is they're defunding police and they're vilifying police and they're making it much more difficult to do their job. And the morale amongst those officers and the ability for them to do their job is plummeting. In fact, it's more dangerous than what happened in Chicago with Ella French. And I don't blame Governor DeSantis for what he's doing. What's happening in major cities across this country is making their citizens much less safe.
You know, Congressman, this follows last year's violent riots and anti-police rhetoric that dominated Democrat cities across the nation. You know, Governor DeSantis made waves in April, signing an anti-riot bill which strengthened penalties for rioters. When you talk about the problematic cities, which cities come to mind?
Oh, my gosh. I'm head of what's called the American Security Task Force, and I'm charged with coming up with a legislative blueprint for the Republican Party should we take over the House in 2022, and God willing we will. And what I've found by going to New York and Portland and elsewhere is those cities are a mess. Portland, for example, cut their police force by 10% approximately. They got rid of their violent crime unit, and the end result was a 533% increase in homicides. The homicide rate in Austin, Texas, where they cut $150 million, is up 97%. In New York City, shootings are up almost 100%, and they cut their police force almost by 1/6, the funding for it. And that's a top terror target in the world. And if you look what's going on in Afghanistan right now, that looks like a really bad decision.
You know, it's important what you're saying, given that which cities are targets. Certainly the New York City has been, so is D.C., but there's been push to defund the police at the same time. We're sort of basically defunding border security as well, right? So why do that, all of that at the same time? Yeah, go ahead, Congressman.
Well, the bottom line is it's this anti-authority wave that's coming from the other side of the aisle in Congress, and it's really scary, and it's trickled down to the state level. And when you have open borders on the southern border, and then you have a city like Austin, which cut their police department by $150 million, you have a tremendous problem in Austin, Texas. Like I said, murders are up almost 100%. All kinds of crimes are out of control in Austin. I was just there. It's amazing what's going on. Traffic fatalities are skyrocketing because everybody knows they don't have the ability to have traffic cops out because their budgets are cut so much. So it's all intertwined. And this whole theory about being apologists for the criminals and cutting law enforcement and vilifying law enforcement is going to have a very serious long-term effect in this country.
You know, Congressman, there's also things like bail reform, right, that's happening in various states. Contrast that with what the governor of Florida is doing as well with New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. He has a new program that will give criminals $1,000 after they've been convicted of lethal gun crimes to be part of a transformation program. This is effectively a taxpayer-paid-for stipend. And they'll be coupled with neighborhood change agents. Go ahead, take this on.
That's absolutely incredible. Listen, I was an organized crime prosecutor. I prosecuted cartel-level drug traffickers. I prosecuted bad cops, but I also prosecuted organized criminals in major cities across this country. And I can tell you right now, the bad guys only understand strength. When they hear if you shoot somebody, you're going to get $1,000 and a hug. I think you're going to see what happens when that happens. That's absolutely insane. You have to criminal almost with a position of strength, and they're just not doing that in New York City.
Congressman John Katko, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you. Come back soon. Up next,